How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Commander Quantified. I am so excited to talk about some of the things that happened at Commandfest Bellevue this weekend. And before we get into that, subscribe to the channel, like this video, check us out over on twitch.tv/CQCrunch. Going to be starting a new live stream, Coffee DH, and that's me and Coach Jero, another creator in the community that does live stream gaming normally. We're just going to be talking about some concepts within the game, some different technical things that you can get into. If you like the regular content on my channel, you're really going to like this. And we're just really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great collab. With that, let's go ahead and get into some of the awesome things that happened at Commandfest this week. So first off, I want to talk about the awesome content creators that showed up this week. Specifically, I met up with Donnie and Jen at Filthy MTG Casuals. They do a lot of Twitch streaming for live gameplay. Go check them out. They're awesome. Girl named Ron, also an awesome person, just really cool. Got to hang out with Joey Schultz a little bit from EDH Rec, as well as Ben and James from Loading Ready Run. So, just such a great time. These people are real people. They're approachable. They're super fun. Commandfest showed me that to the T, right? I think a lot of the time it's really easy to get the idea that when there are people who have like are more well known, like there's a little bit of that celebrity pause, but seriously, we're all just real people. And that really showed up during this Commandfest. So I want to thank those people in particular. Jen, Donnie, you were super welcoming, and I really appreciate you. And yeah, I got to introduce myself to some people. You'll be seeing me on some live streams in the near future. Yeah, there's just a lot that's going to be going on. I'm really excited. So that's the creator portion of this. So I wanted to just talk really quick about Rule Zero and what that looked like at an actual Commandfest. There were some really good Rule Zero conversations that happened. I think that we're getting better as a community at knowing the right questions to ask and things like that. I did pitch the START acronym to a few people, so we'll see if that sticks or not. I think it's just a good formatting for people who need a little bit of help with that Rule Zero conversation, especially if you're getting into play with new tables. There were only 2 games where I felt like I didn't have the correct power level for the table. A lot of people with pastimes, what they did actually was they had a casual, a challenging, and then a competitive sticker that you could put on your name tag, and that actually seemed to work really well. Yeah, like I said, I only had 2. One of those was my own fault. I picked a deck that was really low power for the table, so I kind of just got swept away. And yeah, that was the only one that like really stood out to me. There was another one. Can't think of it right now. That's fine. No worries. But as far as Rule Zero is concerned, getting back and talking with actual people is super helpful. I think that especially over stream and over spell table is where we need to continue practicing a more in-depth Rule Zero conversation, because it's easy to forget, I think, over a stream that you are playing with actual people. And that these people are attached to the decks that are showing up there. So, I still think that START is a valuable thing to have around. I think that it is more geared toward the spell table arena, if you will, which that could be a little confusing, but that's okay. You get it. Spell table area for START. So, Rule Zero conversation, super important. Very happy with how that worked out. And yeah, let's move on to the next thing. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was some really just cool polls and stuff like that happened. I actually did go there with a couple of friends. One of them did a double master sealed, pulled a foil borderless mana drain and a borderless force of negation, as well as a food chain, all in the same sealed set. So that was pretty crazy. Thought that was really cool. My buddy whose birthday it is this week, I really wanted him to have a good time away and stuff like that, so we pooled our prize tickets and did some really cool stuff. It ended up where we bought 4 packs of Jumpstart, and in one of those was the Allosaurus Shepherd that he needed, so I'm super stoked that he got that. The cards that I got, so I bought 2 cards while I was there, and I know that sounds like not a lot, but I really wanted those in particular, and those are Land Tax and Weathered Wayfarer. So Land Tax, well, actually both of them, basically. If you are behind on lands, these are the things that are going to put you in the right position to be able to hit your land drops every turn. If any opponent is ahead of you, that's the nice thing. So these 2 cards I think are really necessary, in particular for white decks that don't have green in them, to ensure that you're continuously hitting your land drops. So I thought that those were really solid investments for the game. As far as pulls are concerned, I did get a Kalia of the Vast out of a double Masters pack that I was given from one of the community developers from WotC. That was super cool. They were just handing out packs, which is amazing. I love that that's something that they do. I couldn't really afford to do a lot while I was there. The trip really took up a lot of my budget for the time, and being able to actually still crack a few packs was really cool. So I got a Akalia the Vast, Nim Deathmantle. I did, in my Baldur's Gate draft, pull a borderless Ancient Gold Dragon, which was super cool. I love that one. It's not probably the most powerful. I think we all know that Ancient Copper Dragon is probably the best one of the bunch. No matter what, you still have to deal combat damage with them, so that's a little bit difficult. But yeah, I think that worked out really well. Not any other crazy pulls really, but I was really happy. I enjoyed myself. I did get one piece of art that I'm super stoked about. I did get this print from this is the Dan Scott Solemn Simulacrum. So I get to continue my brand. I'm kind of working on becoming known as Dad Robot. I really loved Golos when it was in play, and Sad Robot, Dad Robot. I think that those are kind of pretty close together. So also, I think that I'm kind of gearing now more toward casual play more so than I am like pre-competitive and competitive. So I think that being able to slot a specific card that is resemblant for me of casual is very helpful. So I think I'm going to start just putting Solemn Simulacrum in pretty much every deck. It's just a good card to have in there to remind myself, hey, this is what I'm going for here. And a reminder card is going to be really helpful for that. With that, I'm going to move on to the Baldur's Gate draft. So, Baldur's Gate draft. I had a super fun time. I did draft the entire thing face up. It is interesting the effect that that has on the draft environment. I actually really liked it. Because what basically happened was I started off and I drafted, I think, a card in every non-red color. And so whatever somebody passed me, I was going to be able to build off of, right? And it ended up to where I got to grab Aranis, and I think it was Scion of Hallister. And those two have really good synergies. Y'all know I'm a Reanimator player, and so that was like right up my alley, playing Golgari, just pulling back lands over and over again. And people really, once they start realizing what you're drafting, start drafting different things because they know what you're doing, so you're not going to pass them cards of those colors. Neither of the two people on my left and on my right were drafting those colors anymore, really. So that was really cool to see that happen. I think that there is some sort of like it's a little bit of like a selfish indulgence kind of situation, right? Where you're like, well, if you're drafting that, I don't want to have to like compete against you for those colors. But yeah, it worked out really well. I didn't win any of the games, but I felt like the deck came together really well regardless. I never felt like I was super outmatched, which was nice. There were just people who ended up getting better draft pulls and stuff like that. then I did, and that's okay. That happens. That is variance in Magic, and I am totally okay with that. I recommend giving it a shot, honestly. Uh, Being able to have, like, people can counterpick you, obviously, but at the same time, if you say, hey, I'm here to have fun, and so this is me having fun, you also, like, see different synergies within the deck that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. Unless you're, like, super versed in the meta for the draft that you're doing, I would say draft phase up, because then you can start spotting different things that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And with that, I think that's as much as I need to say about the Baldur's Gate draft. It was super fun. I really enjoyed myself. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call the episode to a close. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to put out there, for those of you who weren't able to go to Commandfest, this is just a larger version of going to an LGS. If you can get to your LGS and find a playgroup that you feel safe to jump in with, do that. That's exactly what this was. There just happened to be a lot of playgroups there. And to see that kind of scale and how well people get along in the process, it was really encouraging to me to see where the Commander community is at. Again, big shout out to Jen and Donnie with Filthy MTG Casuals. They did a lot of intros for me, helped me make some really good connections, so you're going to be seeing some of the collaborations on that in the near future, especially over on Coffee DH when we do that on twitch.tv/tqcrunch. Make the plug. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to keep bringing you as much content as I possibly can. Look for me guesting on other people's streams. I don't intend on doing gameplay on my own. I intend on pretty much just doing the Coffee DH with Coach J-Ro and continuing some theory videos here and there. But I think that generally, join us on Saturday mornings. That's going to be where the bulk of the good stuff happens, where you can get in on some really cool conversations with people who know a lot about the game. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll talk to you later.